Welcome, gentlemen. On behalf of Marina Fedorovaart, we would like to welcome you to this precursor to a fantastic exhibition that we will be having very soon. And this podcast episode that is based on the Ethereal Echoes exhibition, which we will be having at Centria Mall in this great concept store, moksyz concept store in Riyadh. Really quite a contemporary space, I must say. So starting with Marina. Marina, please tell us a little bit more about how you started getting into art, the dynamics of how you champion the modern woman through your art, and your approach of traditional art joining digital and contemporary art.
I'm really happy to join today's talk and participate in this great project. And first of all, I would like to tell a little bit more about our Cosmodreams project that for 6 years we are working at. Two main topics are space and woman. Why space? I think we live in this time when space is in the air, spaces around us. Recently, we celebrated the 60th anniversary of first human fly in the space. We are always talking now about hotels in space, there are moon base, there are Mars exploration. So for me, it's a very interesting and intriguing topic. Our project boldly combines different aspects such as traditional painting and contemporary new technologies as VR, AR, and movies and social media instruments. Why is the woman? First of all, I am the woman and I admire a woman. I like to tell the woman's story. And again, about the space, woman is a forefront. We all know the Tereshkova, who was the first woman flying space. And now, for example, Mars mission, 80% are women, including the chairwoman. So my woman, she is like a Wonder Woman. She can even fly in space without a costume. She can implement her dreams, and yeah, I'm telling the stories.
Okay, fantastic. The modern contemporary woman. Speaking of the woman, and speaking of our esteemed Saudi designer, who is also very established and dressing a lot of beautiful women. Tell us, Yousef, we're doing a great collaboration also with yousefakbarofficial, with Marina Fedorovaart. We will get to the part of where we're actually filming we're doing actual collaboration. But tell us, what is your approach towards merging art and using your artwork as fashion, or fashion as an artwork?
First of all, it's very hard to kind of separate fashion and art, because in a way, I believe art is a way of self-expression, and the way people dress is also a way of self-expression. And from my point of view as a designer, I wanted to be an artist all along as a little kid, and I had no idea that you could also express yourself in other ways. And only until I studied fashion and I understood the process of, research, inspiration, kind of interpreting references into clothes and cuts and details and prints. Only then I realized, wow, it's actually the same process of creating as creating art. So I really don't see the difference between art and fashion. I think it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different medium. So I think it just comes naturally. Yeah.
And tell us a bit more about how you envisage your collaboration with Marina on Ethereal Echoes.
I mean, I'm not just saying this because we're talking with Marina and about Marina's work, but her work is super beautiful. It's very inspiring. There's a lot of parallels between what I do and what she does. A lot of what she does is inspired by women, and the same thing for me. I mean, I am a man, but I'm designing for women's wear. And the women's wear I design is actually inspired also by a lot of the special women in the world and in my life. Specifically, one example is my mother. She, in my opinion, she is Superwoman, and a lot of Marina's art is about incredibly strong women in kind of strong settings, looking all powerful. So it's definitely an easy kind of connection and a collaboration from my part, because I think it just kind of merges naturally, and interpreting her art into fashion from the form of painting to clothes, it's been an easy job. So it's kind of fun to do, and really nice to kind of work with artists who also value women and things that I'm inspired to in similar subjects that I'm inspired.
We're all very excited with lots of enthusiasm for the exhibition, which will be held on the 24th in October. But thinking of some of the inspirations that we've had with Marina, which is Ihsa Oasis, a location that is really magical, which Marina also used in some of her paintings, and also inspired by some of the dresses of which Yousef Akbar has created. You are known for someone who takes the local gems and celebrates them. But you're also known for someone who looks at things from different lenses as well. You had mentioned that you had been living in Australia for quite some time, and when you came back, you had a bit of a culture shock. And then from there, you created your art. So it would be interesting to just give us a little bit more feedback on how the process of you coming up with the art that you created, and how do you choose your destinations?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me, Hatem, on this. It can be a very easy way to explain it, actually, and I will just put it on the table this way. Two stages of it. The first stage was arriving to Medina, not being sure of how things will be, where I'm going, where I'm heading after graduation, and then just getting back to my own city and my own country. And then I started to find my joy in the small explorations in the city itself, around Medina, in Medina and around Medina. It happened that I used photography to communicate my feelings, my thoughts on my findings, or, as we maybe mentioned that once or twice, the culture shock. But at that time, using social media to post on and show what is my mind reflecting through what I'm seeing, exploring around, and then putting the finding in social media. Once seeing that is adding to my curiosity, it feeds in my passion, at the same time the interaction between me and the visuals and the audiences that are watching these findings and outcomes and photographs. It takes me into different levels of expanding this search. And that will take us to the second part of the question, the second part of how, which is basically opening Google Maps, really finding and searching on what is really unique from up there, and just straight forward going to that destination. And through that journey, until reaching there, the content being created, and all of these tiny explorations took place.
So technology as a compass.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially Google Maps, and with different helps of my team, actually, Earth team, another part of this journey that this team supported these explorations. And we started to fly and to take personally flying with our captain and our team, and seeing things from above gives a different perspective on things,
Fantastic. Going back to technology, Marina, how would you manage to keep a balance between your traditional art and the art that you exposed with your obviously very notorious project Cosmodreams, of linking your art with virtual reality, augmented reality, and really going into the universe of the actual art itself? How do you manage to do that?
Ironically, I'm a very conservative artist, and I never thought I'm going to do such things as virtual reality. For me, canvas or on canvas was always essential. But here we find out that maybe art is a little bit out of mode today. And then we need to create these bridges between old traditional art and younger generation who, I'm sorry, stuck in their gadgets. So that's why we decided to create these AR scenarios. So pointing your phone on the painting, you can see how paintings become alive, how appears the story, what is behind the canvas. So with these tools, and I think that digital technology is a new tool in the palette of the artist. We just try to attract more visitors, more to interest more people, and for me, it's very important that real painting is still the main topic in my art. So also speaking about new technologies, I would like to say that it wouldn't be possible if I would be alone. It's a big work of a team, and there are a lot of steps. So I'm starting with a painting that then I'm creating a scenario. I'm doing a lot of small sketches how to explain what's going on in my head, and then a lot of work people are working on it. First, the 3D models are created, then animation done. So it's a really huge work, and it's become possible only to the team I'm working with, which I'm really appreciate this.
There's also a very unique sculpture that.
It's a compromise.
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
it's a compromise for me.
For sure, yeah. There's also a very unique sculpture that we're going to be witnessing at the exhibition. Marina is also quite skilled at creating really unique, authentic sculptures, so we look forward to seeing that as well. But Yousef, tell us, what's your creative process, especially when it comes to this collaboration with Marina on Ethereal Echoes? What was the beginning of the process itself?
Usually for me, the only way for me to be creative is for me to have some kind of emotional connection. And as I mentioned before, seeing all the women that she's inspired by, the subject of the woman itself, it was easy for me to connect and to relate to special women in my life. And from then, I would look at the colors she uses, the settings she uses, and also the connection to Saudi culture and the inspiration from the oasis and all of this. So I was able to actually create some kind of picture, some kind of narrative, some kind of story that I connect with. And from then I was able to use that in a form of fashion, translate it into cuts, into shapes, into embroideries.
Would there be dresses also that will be kind of...
Yes, so there will be dresses, and we're translating a lot of her colors that she uses in her paint, a lot of her backgrounds and compositions into embroidery, colorful embroidery that will be in the form of a dress. So it will be very rich in texture, it will be very rich visually, just like her paintings.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Can't wait to see it. Moath, what is your definition of the new age photography that's happening? I mean, is there a certain way where you can modernize it? Is there any way where you thought of working with VR, or is this a movement that you would think of doing besides using it as a compass?
It is always good and amazing and thrilling to experiment, to challenge yourself. I always been calling for, like, even when I have small talks with the young generation or the young artists, experimentation is the key.
Yeah.
New mediums, the science, the AI, everything happening gives you a very wider opportunities to challenge yourselves and to actually come up with the new creations. So yeah, maybe recently I just got back to actually work a little bit more than usual on photography. And yeah, I have this interest in AI, in what's happening here and there, or different mediums even. So hopefully in the next few maybe months we'll be experimenting myself with different mediums and with the help of different techniques maybe. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Marina, what's the next step that's going to be taken into creating the exhibit that we have here? Are we going to be using any particular ways where we can actually see the art through virtual reality? And what about Sputnik group. I think that they are the ones who are kind of adding the more elements into resonating the art that we're doing. Could we hear a bit more about them?
On Cosmodreams in 2017, I was introduced to Sputnik Partners. It's a multidisciplinary design house and art platform focused on exceptional design, product, and art-related activities. From beginning, I share the same philosophy that the company. We preserve, we cherish. Another point, in our day society, there is not a lot of patronage. And what is making Sputnik Partners exceptional, that they support artists, artisans, art-related projects. So it kind of social responsibilities that are so rare nowadays. So today, Sputnik House, it's not only a platformer, it's not only who created the Cosmodreams platform. There are different projects. We are working with in a digital area, and we are working with, for example, French artisans, and we creating high-end design products, as well as absolutely new digital assets. So it's very, very multifunctional company, I would say.
Very wide. Yousef, what advice would you give for a young entrepreneur that wants to kind of pursue fashion, and what other steps that you think should be taken, especially if they want to take those new steps that are being taken?
Okay, first of all, it's kind of tricky because it's not so clear. So first of all, you need to kind of decide if you want to be an artist or if you want to sell. And two approaches are extremely different. I'm not saying that fashion can't be creative if you're selling, but if you want to start selling and actually have a business, you need to know exactly who you're selling to, and if there's a gap in the market that you can fulfill. And the most important out of all of these things is you need to find your own kind of uniqueness. And it sounds so simple, but it actually is extremely, extremely, extremely hard, because it's not so obvious. And sometimes you don't even know it yourself, so you have to kind of discover it, and not everyone does. But one thing for sure, every successful brand is very unique in its own way, and it has to be recognizable. And I'm sure we all can recognize some brands immediately when we see them. So my advice to them is to be yourself, because that way you can be unique, and to find your own little kind of niche and gap in the market. So and it's a journey. Don't rush it. That's also the key.
For sure.
Yeah.
I always think that creatives or designers, when they achieve success, is when you don't have to have a logo to know what the signature style, what the concept is. So it's always important to have that. Moath, what would you say is clearly we know what your signature is, as far as the discovering the hidden gems of Saudi Arabia, really. How would you say you came up to this kind of association of being so unique and authentic? Yeah.
As Yousef mentioned now, you have to be true to yourself. Spontaneity on all of this is a very important element. It's a thin line between what is spontaneous, what is joyful, and what is being really conceived in a very struggling or tough situations, or out of no creativities in a sense. You just have to do what you really enjoy doing, I guess, and to be true to yourself, and to be mindful sometimes on what you really want, as Yousef mentioned. Sometimes when it comes to art and money, for example, or when it comes to art and living, what you really want to achieve and how you're going to live, it's really something you have to be to manage it really well. Being on that romantic vision of being an artist and self-taught, self-living upon, or totally just working for the art and the art field, is different than giving yourself the way of living, or like something to actually feed you at the end of the day. So yeah, you have to be to manage between both of them, and really be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Marina, how do you manage to see the reaction of your audience when they see your art? Clearly, there must have been some instances where they saw some, especially, for example, Cosmodreams, the impact of turning your art into actual VR. What were the reactions that we got from some of your audience?
In general, I hope people like it, but honestly saying, I don't see any surprise anymore, because I think audience is ready for this new experience. There are a lot of projects with virtual reality, with a 3D mapping. On contrary, sometimes people are surprised to see that my paintings are real, oil on canvas, because they thought they were created digitally for NFT or something like this. And when I said, no, it's a painting, it's 2 meter size. So they are more surprised, because a lot of painters these days, they just start to create digitally and leaving behind traditional techniques. So I'm keeping up. I'm trying to prove that they can coexist.
Well, when I was in Salzburg, I was definitely blown away. I remember there was literally really going into the world itself. I never really realized how much of an impact it can have and how it can really elevate the mood. So we look forward to seeing it here. Asking my signature question, starting with Yousef. We've mentioned this before, but let's give it a shot. What is authenticity to you?
Authenticity simply is being yourself. Because if you're being yourself, by default you're unique. And if you're unique, you're authentic.
Yeah, I agree. Moath, what is authenticity to you? إيش الأسئلة؟
I don't know, when you ask me this question, I remembered there is this flash in my front of me, like being in the desert front of a rock. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
okay.
That is for me authenticity, starting from there. But I mean, authenticity, don't force what is really not really yours into what is yours. Just cherish what you got, and elevate what you have from around your culture and your own environment.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Make magic out of the actual
Yes.
status quo.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Marina, what is authenticity to you?
Authenticity is a feeling, it's emotions that we transmit in our artworks. Authenticity for me, it's a truth that I transmit to the world.
Great, absolutely. Well, on that note, we're very, very excited about our collaboration at moksyz with Marina Fedora, based on an oasis in Ihsa, and also based on amazing collaborative colors and concepts that Marina and Yousef are coming up with. So look forward to it on 24th of November at Century Mall at moksyz. Thank you, Marina, for your time. Thank you, Moath, and thank you, Yousef. Really appreciate it. It's good to
Yes.
see all of
Thank
you
you very
here.
much.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thanks.